Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News, and I'm your host, Ellie, and I have William on the phone, the co-host. And we want you to subscribe, share, hit that like button, and definitely hit the bell so you're notified when we come on live. Uh, well, we have a new president. Now, the big thing right now, folks, is I went and looked at Senate, and I know this is a big pet peeve with William, and he'll say so. Uh, I went and looked at Congress, and I looked at presidential, and William, they have been on 211 all day today. They did not count votes. They what? They are they stalled? Are they looking for more votes on either side or?
Ellie,
Yeah,
what day is it?
Friday.
I thought the votes were going to be in Wednesday.
Yeah, California. Well, even California's got like six, maybe eight congressional seats they're still waiting on the vote on.
And who keeps winning?
Yeah. And so now what's running around the media, and it's even both sides, is why is it stalled, and why don't we have like everybody else has got their votes in? What is going on in Arizona and Nevada that we should be?
They didn't get the kind of votes they wanted, so they're getting more votes, or changing the votes, or getting some other votes.
Well, even no matter what, I mean, he's way ahead. Even if she got Arizona and Nevada, it would only add not even 20 votes. It's not going to help. It's not going to help her out. And then if you look at congressional, 20 votes just isn't going to help. It'd make it close to even Stevens. But when you look at the seats,
but if they get the House, then Nancy Pelosi could be Speaker again, and we could do the same thing we did in 2016.
Well, yeah. Well, see, the whole thing is congressional seats. So when you go and you look at the races, it's not feasible to stall at this moment. And I thought they couldn't even get one in today. Put it to 12 or 15 or even on the other side, 99 to maybe 203. They couldn't add today. But then what I learned from my resources in Washington, D.C., William, nobody works on Fridays. So I guess they're not counting votes on Fridays.
So if you're a Democrat, maybe you don't want to count votes.
I mean, if I was one of them counters, I'd be like, what are we doing? Well, why are we sitting and waiting? I'll bring my friends in, and they can help. And we can get one vote today.
I know how they do that counting. It's just like M&M's, right? 2 for me, 1 for you. 2 for me, 1 for you. Oh, no, they don't do that.
You look at the thing with this, William, is when you stick your votes, what you voted for, into the machine, it all goes in at once. Isn't there like a House and Senate that goes in the same time as everything else? They make it sound like it isn't. They make it sound like it's something way different, way harder to count.
Oh, it's because there was smoke in California. Because Wednesday morning, down by the coast, right along the highway, a fire started.
Yep. All right. So we got a lot of news, and that's why we kind of start early tonight, because we might have a lot of news or might not. It just depends on how fast we go through this. William, the one big thing that got my concern here is 43 monkeys escaped from a medical facility, experimental facility in South Carolina. And the thing is I wouldn't have been so concerned if the feds didn't come forward and say, lock your doors and windows. Grab your kids and run in the house if you see them. What is wrong with these monkeys?
Medical research on their brains.
What is wrong with the monkeys? My first thing was monkey pandemic happening.
Well, let's think about that afterwards. I'm just wondering who was the zookeeper at the time, Democrat or Republican?
We really don't know. And they're still on the loose, and they're not saying they caught any. So still, and this happened Wednesday. Um, they are macaw primates.
Monkey in the trees. Do you know how you catch a monkey in the trees? With a shotgun.
Now they said they were doing bio research services.
Oh,
yeah.
Just like Wuhan.
And it's reportedly they include research on progressive brain disorders.
Uh-huh. You don't mean like, I don't know, what was that big thing we had all through the 80s from the mosquitoes that everybody was getting that came from Montauk, or maybe, all these type of illnesses that are degenerative that, leads us into Parkinson's or...
Yeah, and they said when they catch them, they need to be quarantined. Now, they said not only that, but these were free-range monkeys that previously were living on Morgan Islands, and they're conditioned not only to be around people, but survive in the wild. And I don't know why the news isn't talking about this. So if we start seeing, a weird flu coming around South Carolina, folks that live there and around those states, start watching what comes out of this with flus, or I don't know.
If they start talking about it, they might have to investigate it, right?
And the thing about it, William, they said when they go to get them, they can catch them by euthanasia.
Yeah, shotgun.
And so you got to wonder, okay, and they're saying lock your doors and windows, grab your kids and run in the house if you see them, call the authorities. Something's wrong with these monkeys that they don't want people co-acting with them.
Somebody's going to try to put a diaper on one of them and bring them in.
So I'm going to... So keep an eye. If you're in South Carolina and you see these monkeys, call the authorities. Don't get around them. Don't touch them. Don't feed them. Nothing. But I'm going to keep an eye on the next, Mary's in here. Because Mary, what do you think? To watch the illnesses that come out of South Carolina and the states around it. Because and the feds aren't talking. They won't tell us what's wrong with these monkeys.
They couldn't do this stuff on Monkey
Island. It could be biters
someplace.
and give you rabies.
Do it right in the middle of South Carolina, really?
I think it was in Georgia last time they had some animals escape from one of these facilities. It was a bunch of different ones. And they said the same thing. And this was right before the pandemic. So, and I didn't think about it until today when I read this article.
Was it just after Trump won the first time?
There's a Facebook user I'm going to put this up. They said the monkey were not used for testing yet. Well, let's see.
Well, they're grown in the United States. They couldn't possibly have some foreign, disease.
Okay. According to its website, Alpha Genesis Breeds, the monkeys provide non-human primate products and bioresearch services across the globe. The company clinical trials reported include research on progressive brain disorders. So, hun, that does sound like they did do some testing.
Is that how to give somebody progressive brain disorders or fix? They never say that.
Okay. Reportedly include research on progressive brain disorders. Let me
Yeah, research on it. But they never say for or against. That's kind of a big deal, right?
Okay, that's exactly what's written, and this is CBS News. So if you guys want to look, look it up and look at the actual article. That is it. Let me, because I don't mind giving you guys the stuff for you to read. We don't want to give you the wrong impression or the wrong info. We don't do that here.
William
right
still
there.
needed the election timing, so.
So there's the link to what I'm going over with you guys, and so you guys could go check it out. I'm not afraid to post stuff I read. Isn't that right, William?
He was in Drudge. I mean, like, how could you go wrong?
Yeah. So now we got Iranian. Remember the assassination on Trump? The DOJ says Iranian. They got two charged in the plot to assassinate Trump. So we'll see where this goes. Now, as far as with this election, folks, there's going to be a big overturn again with the Department of Justice, the State Department, FBI, CIA, DNI. There's going to be a big change. And William, this thing I don't like with elections. This shouldn't be the president picking our FBI, CIA, any of that. That should be something that maybe we vote in, because all we do is it goes to one president or the other. And this last time with
these agencies, okay, I just want to explain this. These agencies don't belong to Congress. They belong to the executive. This is how the president enacts the laws given to him by Congress. And Congress then funds these groups so that the president can enact it. If Congress doesn't want it, they can defund it. If the president doesn't want it, he can just turn it off.
Yeah. Now, as far as the Iranian, a criminal complaint filed in the federal court of Manhattan alleges that an unnamed official in Iran's Parliamentary Revolutionary Guard instructed and put together a plan to surveil and ultimately kill Trump. So we know it's at least the Justice Department did act on this. I don't know if it was quick enough, but there is in the Southern District of New York, the complaint was put in. So
the Southern District of New York, the ones where they kept taking Trump to try him over and over and over.
Yeah.
That district, is that the district we're talking about?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I have to really explain this for a lot of people. Is when you move, well, except for New York, I don't know about New York and some of these in California and these other agencies, but for the most part, the corruption is really in the top level in Washington D.C. And this is what this FBI guy that I talked to here, and he says the states are way different. They react and they don't necessarily go with what Washington D.C. says. So it's the state individually. So I don't know, William, but they did file this against Iran, and they're saying there could be at least 4 that were a part of this plot. So if one wasn't able to complete, then there was 3 others. So then, I mean, you think about it. If there was quite a few, but Trump has had so many assassination attempts, not only by leaders of other countries, but in our own United States.
Is Letitia James going to try it? Just saying.
You know, and I'm going to probably get to that. Justice Sotomayor faces pressure to retire ahead of the Trump taking office. What the Democrats would like to see is to take her out so they can put somebody in there that of their choosing before Trump gets in office. But you know, William, when you look at the Supreme Court, there's nobody in there ready to retire. They're all fine. That's my whole thing. But now, the Democrats did want to put in 3 more Supreme Court judges, and they just can't get it through. They just cannot get this through, and as we look, and this starts the whole thing of the new changes of the world to come, and I still have stuff on Soros and a few others of the changes that are going to happen. A whole new world with, oh boy, I got so much, William. I guess with us going through it all tonight, it'll explain this new world that could be changing. And so, what I want to first start off with is this new world to come is, folks, the CANARY mission. And I spoke briefly to William about this, and people need to know about this stuff. We have got thousands of Palestinians over here on our streets, on our college campuses, and getting more college students to go along with this CANARY mission. And what is it? You guys, it's at canarymission.com, and I have it down in my descriptions for the show. Please look at it. I think we all need to know about this. And this isn't your regular Muslims. These are the extremists. And what we started seeing over the last couple months was in these protests that they're for the Palestinians, we're seeing Hamas flags, ISIS flags, Hezbollah flags, Hamas, all of the different ones. And then we were also even starting to see some of the cartels of flags that were coming in here. Well, the thing is, this CANARY mission, the Islamics, radical Islamics, it's not the nice, mellow Muslims that we're seeing in our country, but these are radicals. And this is serious, folks. They had a conference of all of them, and the conference was about how they plan to go to war with the United States. And they've been planning this for a decade, and that's their ultimate plan. And they want to start it off with these protests with the college students and move forward into a world war with the Islamics coming over here with the people of the United States. So,
did you hear about last night in the Netherlands where the Israeli, I guess, soccer team was being chased down by the streets with people screaming global intifada, as they caught them and beat them and did all kinds of, those folks.
Yeah. And, we're going to talk, we might as well bring it up now. There was so many hurt, and they didn't expect this. They really didn't expect this. I'm trying to find it.
How could it be expected?
Yeah. And but see, they're not just here, folks. It's not just that I'm trying to pick on. They're going to get the United States. The whole thing is, Europe has complained about the same thing. The UK has complained. Taiwan, Japan. They're in Hawaii. They're in India. They are all over the place to where they have moved so many in that they could attack at any time. Is this going to be the new war that we're looking at, not just of fighting Hamas and Hezbollah in these other countries, but in our United States. So start thinking, if you got kids in college that are wanting to go out and help these people protest in the streets, think about it. You could see the headdress, you could see the signs, you could see the flags.
Have we engaged in self-inflicted wounds to bring democracy to the Middle East?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, the what we have to come. What the big thing was today, William, that I'm gonna say giddy about, was that now we have Steve Madden announced his plan to rapidly move production out of China because they don't want to pay these tariffs. Well, it's not just him. They have found out that um, Mexico is now and thinking they're in a crisis because a lot of the vehicle manufacturers are going to be moving to the United States. And there's other countries. Boy, I could not, when I started reading this, William, I was like, wow. Because we have Europe and Mexico and Canada and so many of I counted at least 10 different companies that want to move back to the United States, move back into the plants they were in. Huh?
We're not against free trade with our tariffs. We just want fair trade.
Right. And so they're all planning to come back. And, when I was sitting there thinking about it, and I said, okay, well, if 10 different companies are moving back in, there is going to be a job increase in this country like we've never seen in history. John Deere says he was planning on moving to Mexico, but no, they're going to go ahead and stay here, but they're going to put up another plant.
Because they're the great American tractor company?
I guess. But it's nice to know they were fixing to, they were going to go, but now they're going to stay, and then they're going to put an additional plant up. And they're even saying of the pharmaceutical companies that we buy everything, all of our prescriptions from China. They're talking with Kennedy. He wants to put everything back here again, so to make prescription costs way cheaper. So that'll be something new.
At least we're all so patriotic, thank God. Prescription companies, John Deere. Dear John, I'm sorry.
All right. Making sure
I'm going to paint my car. I'm going to paint my truck green now for sure.
Now, I know you mentioned, I think, one of was it the New York governor or anyway, what I seen today was not all, but Illinois and New York came out and said they will basically, the migrants that are running to sanctuary cities, if they're inside sanctuary cities, the governor vowed to fight to keep them, and it could turn physical. Now, I don't know why they want to do something like this, folks. It's.
I do. Blackmail. They want to blackmail the federal government to get more funds.
Yeah, we talked about, William just reminded me, saying they're going to pull those funds and they're not going to have the money to fight.
Well, it's either give us more funds, we'll give you the illegals, or it's the federal government saying, well, we're not going to give you the funds and we'll just let you turn into the 80s Bronx.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
it's a lot
the other thing,
tender.
you know what got me with, I mean, if this is in Arizona, um, to kind of add to this, fighting for these migrants. Um, and I'm hoping that this proposition that happened in Arizona will flow over into other states. And what it was is law enforcement able to arrest and deport unauthorized and illegal immigrants. I think, they haven't had a chance. Now, the Indian reservations, they only have sheriffs, I believe. And it gives them even the power in New Mexico to get them off the land right there where it's opened to where they can, the migrants are easily able to get on there and they're destroying stuff. You know, they just, it's the garbage. William, man, the garbage that they leave. I don't, where do they get all them clothes? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, yeah, but it's
I mean, that
not
shouldn't
like
be the biggest of my concern,
rural, not
but
like rural Venezuela or Mexico has, garbage pickup. They're
and
just
it,
doing what they do.
so if Arizona could get this passed, I think that all these other states can be able to slip it right in under law, um, and that would be something really new to this country, to where we give the police department a little bit more authority than what they've had on these migrants, because no matter where you go, major cities, they're there and they're causing issues. Um,
Every sheriff's department that picks up an illegal, once they release them, if they have questions, they have to call ICE anyway. The only place that doesn't happen is sanctuary states.
yeah,
So that's already happening,
yeah,
but they're not deporting.
that's right.
I wonder what it is.
I like what Eddie said because I listened to a guy that does Bigfoot shows, and he tells his viewers a lot about Canada. We should have invaded Canada years ago and freed the oppressed citizens from dictator Trudeau. Yeah, he's went full of
Have,
socialism to communist.
have you heard what Canada's worried about now?
Huh?
Well, just 30 million, undocumented U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
Good luck, RCMP.
Yeah. Now, another thing that's not only just for us, but the rest of the world, because there was a lot of other countries that were like uh, drooling over that the United States under the Trump administration would be starting the production of oil again. Now, folks, this isn't going to be an easy task. Now, don't think that the prices are automatically going to drop in the second he, swears in, because the Biden Harris administration, let these oil productions dry up. It's going to take a while to fill them all back up. And then we'll be able to start seeing the prices fall. So don't, I know I'm not going to say Democrats. I know the media is going to be going, see, he didn't drop the prices on the oil. Well, they've depleted most of what we had in stock.
And the strategic oil reserve is what is that? A couple billion barrels?
Mm-hmm.
To keep price down to just $5 a gallon here in Washington.
Yeah. Um, now, and this has kind of left these um, refill CEOs. I think they're kind of scratching their heads on how quick can we do this, because see, they're blocked until Trump officially takes office. So they can't pre-refill, because I know that's what a lot of people would be thinking. Well, let's start on it now. And then by the time he gets in office, then we can have these lower prices. Well, it's not that easy. And that's what
They
these
have to have the leases from the state. They have to have the authorization to drill from the federal government. They have to have
right.
both.
And right now they're blocked.
And nobody's interested right now.
Right.
I mean, interested in the government in doing that right now.
He's going to have to sign in something to stop what Biden has done immediately, and then leave there's going to be quite a few weeks before they can even start refilling. So folks, don't get all happy on this just yet.
They'll have to. So they've been pumping what they have dry. It's not like they have to get it going again. They have to re-drill. They have to look for new wells.
Well, you know what? When I read that, William, there's some of them that are just sitting there going, "If you'd let us, we'd give you the oil." They got it there, so it's, and some of them have even let a trickle, what I've been able to find out, to where there's a little bit there just to know that they have an active well, and hoping that they would be able to drill again. And the whole thing is Biden stopped all this, and while they're in office, folks, it's not going to start up until we get it stopped. Executive order is what he's going to have to look at. I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but
we better get an actual bill through Congress. In fact, here's my thing, Ellie. If this Congress, after we give them both houses and the presidency, cannot act,
yeah,
and they say, "Oh well, geez, in the future we're going to do this," we're not interested in the future anymore. We're not interested in the past. We're interested in right now. If the Republican Party does not deliver, there will be no more Republican Party. I don't think the Republican Party knows that.
Yeah. And we have I wanted to do this one next because Putin weighs in on the Trump win. He says he's ready to talk about Ukraine. Well, Zelensky's ready to talk about maybe a ceasefire or peace plan with Trump. And then today we heard Hamas is willing to talk a peace plan.
No.
But the whole thing is, then we look at the Houthis. The Houthis decided they're going to fire a hypersonic ballistic rocket at Israel Air Base. And I didn't find anything that they hit anything. Now, the whole thing about it is, if Hamas kind of steps down a little bit, I don't think they're going to go all the way, or Hezbollah. What I'm seeing, William, is a wrap up or increase of what Houthis are doing. So could they be taking the place?
You're going to see the good old, where's the peanut under the three cups, and they go back and forth. That's what Iran's going to play now.
Yeah, see, they did knock it down. It was called Palestinian 2, but it was downed early Friday after it hadn't been in the air very long by a U.S. MQ-9 Reaper in Yemeni airspace.
So an MQ-9 Reaper knocked down a hypersonic missile.
Yeah.
Okay. A slow Reaper knocked down a hypersonic. Either it wasn't a hypersonic, or that was a really fast Reaper.
Yeah. Now, when I heard with Trump that Trump had won, my first in search of was Soros and Klaus Schwab. And I've told you that even Soros Jr. is spending 4 to 6 times going to the White House. Now that, and Soros, well, Klaus Schwab is in, um, he's grieved that this could have been a great one world order of peace and equality across the globe. And he's saddened.
Partnership?
Yeah, he's saddened.
Partnerships?
Yeah, he's saddened. And then Soros,
I'm grieved.
so he's in the same boat, folks, as Klaus Schwab, pushing the one world order, but pushing an agenda to cause uprisings in the United States. Well, a lot of his foundations have been found out that they never should have gotten funding from the feds because they weren't registered in for contributions. So they're getting his organization's getting very caught up into not being legal.
Do you hear that, Ellie?
Huh.
That's the smallest violin in the world. My heart bleeds for you.
That's kind of how I feel. Like I said, I was like, yeah, poor Soros. So, William, this is a big deal, though, because we've got it from Bush saying the one world order all the way to the Democrats working with others in the world to push this. And we would have had a one world socialist slash communist world where everybody was considered equal. And
Dr. Bush started that whole public-private partnership debacle.
Yeah. Well, I think he was the thing is when I started really looking into it, it was already in play with not only with the UN, but it was in play with Soros back then. Soros, he's been around a while. And, I didn't start hearing about Klaus Schwab until the first year or so of Obama. And I was like, who's this guy? Whoa, wait a minute. I mean, they wrote a whole program on the one world order that they were going to get in within the first 2 years of the Kamala Harris administration.
Soros was in Hungary at the age of 17. He swore allegiance to the Nazi Party.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I haven't heard him unswear that allegiance.
And then that's how close to, I'm going to have to say there was quite a few reporters over in Europe. I think one was at the BBC that said we came so close to the fall to having individual kings or queens and in charge of splitting the world into 3 or 4 or 5 and controlled by a king or a queen or a dictator. Can you imagine Jinping being in charge of the United States?
Can you imagine that guy up in Canada? What's his name?
Trudeau. Yeah. Well, see, that's what we would end up here. And I'm not going to say it would have been Hillary, but I think it, maybe Pelosi or no, Pelosi's too old. Did you hear she got mad? They asked her how she was doing, and she said something like horrible. And she says, I'm having a bad day, the day after the election. Well, come on. And I've heard, boy, you should hear what my sources out of the Capitol are telling me. And I can't really use it. I can't tell you guys. I shouldn't have brought it up. But there is an uproar and there's fighting between Congress, between Senate, between those that have even retired and not even Congress or Senate anymore that's causing issues.
Everybody's upset.
Oh, yeah. William, when you look at, if we have a totally Republican control House and Senate, which is a good thing, because if anything that Trump puts in that's got to be passed through Congress and Senate, it'll go through pretty quick.
If they'll put it in.
But that's depending on the Republicans putting it in. Will they, or will they? Do we got some rhinos again?
Well, Utah's, their new senator is, you know, spent most of his adult life as a Democrat, replacing Romney. That's a surprise, right?
Yeah. You don't. Where does
Republican governor? It's kind of the same thing. They were happy about China, doing business with China up until like a week ago.
Yeah, and then, when we look at NATO too, William, Trump pulled out of NATO. And if we pull out of NATO, I mean, we talked kind of about this with, I guess, a little bit on the Philippines. Who's going to pay?
Trump did not pull out of NATO. What he did was said, look, NATO, we're going to get rid of Article 5, meaning we're going to come and if somebody attacks you, unless you pay your fair share of your defense. Not our defense, their defense.
Right. And see, now we're looking at that all over again. And Europe right now is in despair, I believe, over just policies and the choices they made. And then what'd you say about Philippines earlier?
So the EU is saying that it's going to require them to come up with $850 billion. Now, keep in mind, that's our defense expenditure period. And they have twice as many people, all right, in Europe. So, $850 billion to do defense and the Green New Deal. And they have to accelerate their economy in order to be able to do it because, well, they have 0% increase in their economic GDP because, well, they slowed down their economies for the New World Order. And so everything's great, right? Ish.
Kinda.
Anyway, so the Philippines, that's a different deal. So the Philippines, there's been some folks here in this country just recently that have decided we could do lend-lease to the Philippines, just like we did to England before, World War II. And it'll be no different because, England paid back their debts for the most part. And of course, the Philippines are going to be, so here we got a better repayment plan. We can give the Philippines our military hardware, and they'll let us drill an oil well or two on their territory so that we can give them taxes. I'm missing the point here, Ellie. Now, on the other hand, if they were to give us a 20-year lease out on one of their outer islands, and we could help them with their security, and we could have, something right out there near the channel where our ships could and airplanes could refuel and have a place to be. Just a 20-year lease. Remember, we gave back Subic Bay and we gave back Clark Air Base, so it's not like we won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be at least a 50-50 deal. But to give away our hardware so that people who are enterprising, making money in the private sector can make money because we're giving away our military hardware just does not make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my opinion.
Now, over there, my source out of Taiwan, the reporter over there, he said, I guess Taiwan's, are pretty happy with this election. And they're thinking that when uh, now that Putin and a few others have claimed they want to work with him on peace or ceasefire, they now have a rejuvenated hope. I liked how he said it, and that uh, they that Trump or anybody in his administration, even J.D. Vance, will be able to talk Jinping into maybe backing off. And, he can strengthen his bricks if he wants, but to back off and start working with what China could do for Taiwan, what Taiwan could do for China, or just separate the two. Um, and they're,
Taiwan is excited because now they know that the U.S. government's not going to give away their store and not be able to show up if they have a time of need.
yeah.
I'd be more excited too. In fact, I might be thinking, I might actually have a chance at survival.
Yeah. Um, and even Netanyahu, um, when he was asked about it, uh, he was saying that he just had the faith that the United States will be able to do the right thing in the conflicts of the Middle East. And then Putin, supposedly, he said he spoke with him, and Putin is very happy uh, to. He said he's not going to back out of Ukraine. That's not an option, but he will listen to what this new administration proposes before he makes any decisions. So, and even in North Korea, I think he contacted the, the little man. Uh, and from the sounds of it, is he's sticking hard to his guns, saying he's got the missiles, he's got the rockets, and he can decide who he wants to fight for, not having another country come in and tell him and dictate him. But didn't that sound like his sister? You ain't gonna tell me what to do.
Yes.
He don't sound. I mean, all the years that I've listened to this little guy. He's never been big on being forceful. And when I hear this, I was like, "Yep, they came from his sister." Yeah.
Yeah. He's getting less healthy, and she's getting more healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Folks, we got Veterans Day coming up. Now, William, didn't you said something about a video? Um,
yeah, I haven't got it together yet, but we'll probably do it Monday. But remember our veterans, those, not just our veterans, but our civilians that have made sure that our military has had what it's needed, and it's, the time it's needed, has worked for, tirelessly to make sure that our government's provided, weapon systems and whatnot, so that we don't have to shed so much blood. We can shed treasure instead. We're sure thankful for, everybody that's given of themselves for the military. And myself as a military member, I want to say to the rest of the American public, we want to thank the American public for the opportunity they gave us to serve.
Yeah.
That's important to say.
William, they have been so spat upon this last few years. And what got me was we had some that were, going to the veterans parades, and they were protecting them because Antifa and others were attacking them at these parades. I mean, one guy he got hit and flipped over in his wheelchair, and he was like 90 something years old. And what I get out of the whole thing is, my neighbor has 3 flags: the American flag, the POW flag, and veterans flag. And so many times kids in grade school, folks, and the junior high would go by and they'd like pretend to spit on the towards the pole, or they would throw rocks, or they would throw garbage at it. That's what they think of our POWs and our veterans.
Children aren't smart enough to know. That's
Yeah,
parents.
well, they're only doing what they have learned, not only from school, but in the
Dude, they're not old enough to know.
and it just saddened me to watch this. I went out and yelled at quite a few of them. You need to go home and tell your mom that, what you just did. And I scared a few of them, because it's time to honor them once again, since they have been so put back and not appreciated over the last few years. Well, it shouldn't matter who's in office, folks. Our veterans should be something that is just priceless to us, no matter which war they fought in, whether it was Iraq or if it was World War I or World War II. I don't think anybody's left from World War I, is there? I think
Veterans
we've
don't
lost them all.
choose the wars they fight in.
Or even Vietnam or the Korean War, or folks, it doesn't matter. When these gentlemen, these kids, 18, 20-year-olds go in, and they lose limbs, and some of them even watch their best friends being killed. They need to be honored. And I really do believe that this Veterans Day is going to be way different than it's been for the last few years.
Well, being a veteran is a lot like life. Everybody's going to lose something, right?
That's
so it is what it is that way.
Yeah. William, do you want to add anything else? We've got trivia coming up on the next hour.
Well, I think that this week's been traumatic enough. I mean, I had to take like a 48-hour nap just to be able to think again.
I just want to say I heard a bunch because, I wasn't feeling after I got done. It was a rough night. Wednesday was a very rough day. I'm just, I think, still kind of numb on, like what our title is, A New World to Come, because it's going to be a whole new world that we have watched, not just our government, but many governments destroy and made bad choices on their own governments. And they fell for a Klaus Schwab and a Soros. No wonder Hungary kicked them out. And I'm really hoping that when this new administration comes in, that they kick these two out. Soros and his son.
Is part of a new direction that will go through the next 40-year cycle before we have to go back the other direction because we overshot the runway.
We'll see. I think of 6 months, 6 months to a year from now, William. 6 months to a year from now, I would love to. I'm waiting to hear what the media has to say and all the things they claimed we were. And they're not going to get nowhere right now destroying their own party by keep name calling. We have unity, but wait a minute, you guys are scum. You're garbage. They can't.
There's an internet library that keeps track of all the posts and everything that's gone on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get in it right now because it's been under attack for the last month. So my sheet doesn't work.
My thing is at one point in my life, I did like the Democrats, but not these radicals. They're like jihadists that I was talking about earlier. These are radical Democrats, because now that, on The View the other day, someone asked them about their view on, I can't remember what it was. And she goes, oh, I don't believe in that, but only 1% of the country, so don't worry about it. Wait a minute, you guys been throwing that in our face. Now it's not even important. Your policies, your views, the name calling. And so what I want to see is the Democrat Party that used to be, not the radicals, not the AOCs and T-Lobs, but the other ones, find someone very young, very fresh in their own politics and try to build their party back up. I don't want to see it ruined, but they're just tearing it apart. I mean, Camilla was even blaming Obama today. They're just, don't tear your own party apart to look forward to the 4 years from now, folks.
The
It's
part of
just
the
sad.
Democratic Party you're looking for is in the Republican Party right now. But if
Yeah,
the
they
Republicans
switched.
fail,
Now,
they'll have to go someplace else. But we don't know they'll go to the Democratic Party. They
yeah.
could go to
One,
someplace else.
one last thing, William, is something that, I mean, not many are talking about this. And I only heard it briefly on election night. There is, uh, Biden had about 20 million more votes that popped up, okay, than what was in the party this time. Now, and they were saying it wasn't really a lack of. Now, some of it was dead voters, some of it was people that illegal ballots. But they're saying there's still about 12 million that they can't find from the Biden election until now. And they're thinking they may have, if they had looked at it, if they had Back to the Future and they could see now, if they knew it then, they might have seen that there was something shady going on.
Water under the bridge.
12 million. Think about that, folks. And they said that they can't really find from the 2020 election that voted for Biden.
This has been an uphill climb, so we shouldn't throw away our ability to right the ship while we're here, because you never know when it's going to be another long uphill climb.
Yeah. William, did you hear today? Biden isn't going to pardon his son. What the heck? I mean, I wouldn't have minded if he done it, you know? I mean, because it's almost a gimme there. But he came forward and said he's not. You know what I'd like to see is Trump pardon, get him out of the way. I mean, all it was is, the big thing was the FBI. Oh, the laptop was Russian. Well, we found out that was wrong, and they did have it a little bit on CNN. And then his drug use, his women, the whores,
DOJ dropped the charges. What's the difference?
So I just can't see him, just letting them fall through the cracks. But then, one of my first things I said to the family today was, because he has Zelensky as a new son. I don't know, but I just found it weird that he wasn't going to. I don't know if he's that doesn't understand.
He might change his mind until the very last minute. We don't know.
If Jill, I know it's her stepson, but I'd be saying, dude, hey, it's one of your kids. I mean, if my kid was in jail or prison, I'd do everything. I'd fight tooth and nail to get him out. So, okay. William, we're going to close it out because we have got trivia in less than 30 minutes. And so, and I'm looking forward to it. It's different. There's nursery rhymes and food and a little bit of everything. The nursery rhymes, I'm hoping I stump y'all with. I don't know. Some of them are just too easy.
I'm waiting for Susan.
Okay, Susan, be sure. I'm going to flip the page and Susan's already going to have 2 marks or something going. So, Karen's been hot playing. So, all right. Maybe it's Eddie's turn to win this week.
You guys got to watch, because Susan just always takes me out. So, you guys got to watch William go down.
Yeah. So, all right, folks. With that, we're going to go ahead and let you go, and we will see you for trivia in about 25 minutes. And we will be back on Monday. And, this weekend, I think, is going to be something to watch, whether it's an uprising, whether it's quiet, whether it's inner fighting, whether it's just, everybody
you
just.
would like to see the votes counted, please.
Everybody just
Anybody out
like,
there? Hello? Count the votes. Hello?
yeah, count the votes.
Anybody home?
But for the most part, folks, put your feet up, drink some eggnog or hot chocolate. It's getting cold here. And there's a blizzard in Denver. I think I heard today.
Snow on the ground. Don't go out on the ice right now.
I want snow. But this weekend, take it easy. Go catch a great movie.
Already.
Go catch a movie or something, or go rent some movies, or just lay in your jammies all weekend and go, whew. Thank God no more politic commercials.
Yeah.
So, okay. With that, folks, subscribe and share and hit that like button for today's show. And the bell, definitely re-hit that bell. Everybody's complaining about that bell, that it's not grabbing enough of everybody's viewers to give them the heads up when they have shows. And over on Facebook, investigators. And if you're interested in the funny posts, it's on Hellions, Holes, and Poles. So, all right, William, thank you very much. I enjoy having William with me.
I've been kind of grumpy this week. I just want to apologize, folks. Thanks for being here, and we sure love having you.
So, all right. So with that, folks, we will see you soon. Have a great weekend. And if not, come on back for play some trivia tonight. So, thanks for watching. Bye-bye, folks.